morning, Empower Living Community. Look who's here. Inge. Yay!
Hello. Hi, Paul. So good to see you. Hi, everybody.
It's so good to see you, and it's so good to see you living your dream. Show everybody where you are right now. Go ahead, just show. Okay. No, show the picture. Show. Turn the computer. It's awesome where you are at. Look at this. Yeah. See, look. I'll tell you, if you got to work in this business, this is the way to work.
I agree.
You have.
I'm in the south of Crete, of the island.
Yeah, you have really mastered the art of kind of like vacation retreat trainings. You've done this. I know you've done this in Dubrovnik, in Croatia. I know you've done it. You've done it all over the place, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely. I love retreats. I love to be close to people, deep dives, bringing them into stunning environments where they can just be themselves, and a lot of magical things happen. Yeah,
there is something like, I know when you and I, for those of you who don't know, Inge was my partner when we created Turning Point. The Turning Point would never have existed without Inge. I mean, it was actually her original kind of first version. And I went over to Belgium to kind of look at what she was doing, and we tweaked some things. And then out of that became Turning Point, but 3 days. And we did Turning Points all throughout Belgium, some beautiful places. And we did it in Poland together, in Romania.
In the US.
Yeah. But there is something special about being able to take clients on a trip. As a matter of fact, we're going to be doing, you know what we're going to be doing? In July, I'm going to be introducing everybody in the empowerment community, Empower Living community, to Daniela Hunt.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm going to introduce her, and she's going to do a 90-minute webinar of giving people a virtual tour of Rome, right? And you know her. I mean, you hired her.
I cannot wait to see that. She is so amazing.
She's so amazing. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to do an EL community trip to Rome in 2023. We're looking at May or October. Yes, of course. Can you come? May. No, you can't. Either May or October of 2023. Won't that be epic? 4 or 5 days in Rome, and have Daniela give us private tours. We'll rent the Sistine Chapel, right? I mean,
priceless.
Right.
Just priceless.
Yeah. But there is something that happens when you work with people for more than, a 5-hour workshop or a 1 day, isn't there? You can go deeper.
It has a couple of elements, actually, that I see. And I've done 2 groups back to back, 2 more days. And then I did 2 groups back to back for each group did 5 days, almost 5 days. First of all, you take them away from their regular environment for longer than a day or a couple of hours, which is so important because we become our environment. And the environment keeps us where we are. So when you retreat people and you bring them in a beautiful place like this, and can be Rome, can be anything, right? I think that's where the magic of education happens. Because first of all, you bring them in a place together. For a lot of people, it's challenging. There is a terror barrier there, because like here, I'm in the south of Crete. It's not touristic. The first house is 3 kilometers away. The first shop is 25-minute drive, right? So they have to fly in, then they have to take the Jeep, they have to drive all the way down through the mountains. They come here and it's like, wow, abundance, paradise, right?
Yeah.
And then you take them on a journey. It's really a journey inward.
Right.
So I think the second most important thing is you create a very safe environment for them. You can literally not call on a cell phone from this place. It's not possible. Thank God we have internet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you and I would not be talking. So you see, it has a lot of elements that we are scared of today. Like, I cannot call my wife. I don't, But then again, that's the invitation to go within, where the kingdom
Mhm.
is,
Yeah.
within, right?
Yeah.
And then we work from inside out. We start 7 a.m. yoga. I have a great team member who is amazing in yoga, a super, super amazing guy. 8 o'clock, meditation on the beach. So you see the world changes in an hour when you open up your eyes again, and then breakfast, and then we start working, you know, some exercises, but it's all experiential.
Yeah.
And you and I know, and I think that that's the thing I added to Turning Point was experience.
Yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
the crazy stupid shit that you call it, you know, climbing the high elements and the
Yeah.
poles, and because in the experience, when you debrief that experience, I think that's the best teacher you can have.
Yeah. It's so
That's why I love it so
powerful.
much. It's
Yeah.
extremely powerful. Yeah.
You know, I'm probably the only person in the world that has had a front row seat to your growth. I'm probably the only person
Yeah,
that
you're right.
knew you when you were this little girl from Belgium coming over to America, bankrupt, scared to death, not sure what the hell you were doing, but knew you had a dream and betting on your life. And I've watched you grow, right? And I've watched this transformation. And so for everybody who's watching on May 28th, that's next Saturday at 8 a.m., Inge's going to be doing her second teaching in the Six Figure Mentorship Program. And I asked her to talk about who she needed to become, right? Who did she need to become? Because if you look at, I mean, if you just look at her physical appearance, she's transformed. You know,
Totally.
she.
I had black hair.
I mean, I think I met Inge in 2006 or 2008.
07. Yeah.
She looks younger today than she did then.
Oh, well,
She's
thank
happier.
you.
She looks happier today than she did then, right? She's more alive. She's more alive. So I want to just talk about a couple of things, okay?
Mhm.
So in order for you to go from where you were to where you are now, one thing you had to become, you had to create this inner confidence, yeah? So like when you first started, where was your level of confidence as it is to where it is now? Non-existent, right?
Below zero. I
Yeah.
just lost everything. When
Yeah.
you met me the first time in West Palm Beach, I
Yeah.
just lost my life. I always
Yeah.
say the only thing I had was 2 children. Thank God. All the
Yeah.
rest was gone. So I had to borrow money to come to the US to take the training. My self-confidence was below zero. I didn't know who I was, basically. I just knew that when I saw The Secret in my pajamas one Sunday morning, it resonated. You know,
Yeah.
my heart was on fire. I was like,
Yep.
what is this? I need to know. I need to know. Why did nobody tell me this?
Yeah.
Did I have to become this old, you know,
Yeah.
to discover this huge secret? So I started to search because there were like 12 teachers, I think, in the movie. And
Yep.
the teachings of Bob Proctor resonated. So I started searching, you know, and then I thought like, ooh, I want to take that training. If I could only do that, if I could only do that, if I could only imagine, you know, doing that.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it, but I wanted it. And thank God that the love for wanting it was bigger than my fear. Pushed me, you know,
Yeah.
it pushed me beyond my Belgian comfort zone. And I had to come up with a lot of, you know, ideas how to get to West Palm Beach.
It was $15,000 just to put it in perspective. In
Exactly.
2007, in the height of the financial collapse, we were filling rooms at $15,000 a person.
$15,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to borrow the car. You know, I flew to Miami because the plane tickets to West Palm Beach were too expensive.
Too expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. I drove the PT Cruiser from Miami to West Palm Beach. All of a sudden, I see an image, Key West, and something in me says, I don't think that's the right direction.
Yeah. Going south instead of north.
And
You were,
then
you,
thunderstorm. It was crazy, but
it wasn't that a
I
metaphor for your life though? Wasn't that a metaphor for your life that you were going in the wrong direction in your life up until that point too,
exactly,
right? How
exactly.
you
I
do
was up
anything
in
is
the
how you do everything.
thunderstorm. You know, I
Yeah.
was so happy when I got to the hotel and a new world opened up to me.
Yeah.
And I met you for the first time, and you
Mm-hmm.
gave me the confidence I didn't have.
Mm.
And I remember you saying, Paul, if you only stick to the system,
Yeah.
if you only, and I was like, I'm nobody. I don't know anything. I have nothing to lose, actually. You know, I'm not gonna be, you know, egotistic and find my own way. I'm gonna do what this guy says. Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
And that's what I did because you borrowed me. I borrowed the belief from you, you know? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
That's
borrowed the
okay.
belief from you. And that was just what I needed. I needed somebody to believe in me.
Yeah. And confidence, your level of confidence grows, it grows mastermind by mastermind, lunch and learn by lunch and learn client. I mean, it doesn't, you don't get confidence overnight. It's something. And just when you think you have it, life has a way of like pulling the rug from underneath you and giving you a pop quiz. And I know in your journey over these, last 11 or 12 years, you've had that experience too. You've been tested.
Oh,
You've been that level of confidence gets tested, doesn't it? Every day.
yes, every day. And every time my vision expands, I know like, uh-oh, it's coming for me because
It's
I have
coming
to
from me.
grow into that person.
Yeah.
My vision
Yeah.
expands. And it
Yeah.
should, and I don't want to withhold myself and just saying like, okay, as good as it gets, look, I'm living
Yeah.
a great life. And no, so every time I get tested again, I have to grow again,
Yeah.
And
Yep.
what you say is so true. It is the experience stepping into that journey, fail, make a ton of mistakes. Remember the first speech, the 8-minute speech you asked me to
Yeah.
do?
Yeah. Yep. I do
I
remember that.
died in that moment.
I
But
remember that.
you know what was so cool? I think the moment the email from Cheryl came in that said, Paul asks if you want to do the 8-minute stickman presentation on main stage. I was like, what? And split second, I knew, yes, because this is an invitation for growth. I have to grow into that person. I knew I could not afford to say no. I knew it because you had the confidence in me when I didn't. So you see something in me when I didn't. Now you give me the invitation. I knew I had to say yes, and I did. And I started studying, flew to West Palm Beach a second time. You put me on the stage, you tap my shoulder and you say, don't screw it up. And there I am. And now I have to deliver 8 minutes. And Bob Proctor was in the room. Les Brown was in the room.
Brown was in the room.
You were in the room. I mean, ooh la la.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a scary place to be. And in the same time, I felt like I'm home.
You killed it. Yeah, but you killed it.
First, I blanked out. I don't know if you remember. I blanked out like 8 seconds, and I saw Mark Moffitt in the back of the room. Breathe, breathe. And I killed it. 8 minutes on the second. Oh, but I was also prepared. I have to say, I was prepared.
Yeah. So, in order for you to be, and again, I think this is an important part, and it leads to what I'd like to talk about now, is you've had to find your own voice.
Oh, yeah.
You've had to find your own identity in this, right? And so you've got to have the, everybody who's looking at you now, isn't seeing the 2007 version of Inge Rock. They're seeing, the 2022 version of Inge Rock, which is completely different. They're seeing a confident Inge Rock, and they're seeing someone who has found their voice. Will you talk about that in terms of like,
Oh,
how
sure.
you found your voice and your identity as a thought leader?
Sure, absolutely. And it's not a straight line. It's not an event. It's not something that you create overnight. I think it took me 10 years, honestly, to find my true voice. Because at first, I saw you, I saw this, Bob on stage, I met Les Brown. I learned, I'm a sponge. I mean, I'm a learner. I love to learn and I adapt so quickly. But it's kind of dangerous place too, because then you start adapting stories. These are not your stories. So now you have to come up with your version of a story, blended in something, And I always say it's, finding your voice is like creating your personal cocktail. Over the time, I know that, the community understands this so well, because you hear this, and then you study this, and then you take this workshop, and then you take this class, and then you go to the seminar, and you think, oh, this is cool. Oh, this is cool. Oh, I love this too. But now you have all these bits and bobs. It's like pieces of a puzzle, but you don't have an image. There is no image. Like when you buy a box with 2,000 pieces, a puzzle, at least you have an image.
Yeah, you have a picture.
You have a picture, right? You don't have a picture of you in the future. You have to come up with that picture. And I think what I learned was every teacher I met mirrored something of me, but not the whole me, And I had to figure out which puzzle pieces belong to me. And honestly, I only discovered it by doing.
Yeah.
You do something and then you feel it's not that. And
not
then
a match.
Not a match. Exactly. And then you do something, you feel like, ooh, wow, that felt really cool. Now, of course, the biggest part of finding my voice, almost literally, was through theater. That I made 2 one-woman shows, and where I worked one-on-one with the theater director, who challenged me, to even become a whole different teacher, a whole different speaker, and find my true voice. So you see, it's a lot of investment. It's not just one thing, it's a lot of pieces. And slowly, by doing it, you feel like, that's me. That's a part of me, and then you keep that.
And I think that's why it's so important that no matter at what level you get to, you keep buying that next workshop and you keep buying that next product. And now I know that sounds really self-serving because I sell workshops and products.
Me too.
But the beautiful thing is, and the truth is, why do I teach Think and Grow Rich and As a Man Thinketh and Thomas Troward? Why do I do this? Because every one of those little pieces created me. And if I can teach it and you can find your piece in you from that, and then find your piece in Science of Getting Rich, and then find your piece in As a Man Thinketh, then find your piece in, The Spirit of Opulence, and then find your piece in Turning Point, and then find your piece in the sales program, and find your piece. All of a sudden, this picture comes together, and you find out, I know what works for me. Right.
Exactly.
And that's where you're at now. I mean, you have built you've built a 7-figure business, $1 million business, and you have created this picture of you that is really a quilt. It's a patchwork of all these other teachers and influencers. And I would even say that some of them weren't even part of personal growth and development. They could have come from, like you said, from the theater, from performers and all kinds of things. So you've had to become confident. You had to find your authentic voice, and then the last I want to talk about, and I think this is such a big one. You've had to play your own game. Right? You can't be comparing yourself to somebody else. It's the kiss of death.
Totally agree. And I did it, Paul. I made that mistake. We all do it because it's very tempting, especially with social media. And it's so tempting to look at people whose results are bigger who have more success, more followers on Instagram, more followers on Facebook, who do it fluently, with their flair, and you think like, if only I was there already. But that's not your journey.
No.
That's not your journey.
No.
And you are right. It's the kiss of death, because your ego takes that idea. Imagine that you compare yourself to Tony Robbins. What a silly game is this? And yet we do it. Maybe it's not Tony Robbins, but we do it because we look at what is possible. But when we look what it is possible, in the meantime, we knock ourselves, down like, oh, I'm not good enough. I will never be able to do this.
I'll never.
It is, yeah.
It's so.
Don't do it. It's just a game.
I'm going through it right now in that, I don't know if I told you. So Holly and I were on our way to the Dominican Republic last weekend.
I know.
And on our way there, we were just talking about this trip to Rome with Daniela. And I said, well, wouldn't it be great if we could speak a little bit of Italian? And so Holly said, well, let's take a course. So she finds this course and I said, okay, I don't want to learn how to read or write it. I just want to learn to speak it. And every time I've tried to learn a language, every language program tries to teach you, the grammar and the vocabulary and the spelling before you ever get to learn to say anything, so you do like a year's worth of, grammar and spelling and reading before you ever start to speak. And that's not how I learned English. I learned how to speak, and then I learned the alphabet. I learned how to speak, and then I learned how to read, So she found this program that teaches you how to speak Italian first, and then they'll worry about the rest later. And so I'm in the very beginner level, and I'm on, the first lesson, and they give me this, 10-sentence conversation between two people. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, I'm never going to be able to do that. I'm in the program literally for 18 seconds. And here comes this voice says, I'm never going to be able to look out. I could never be that good.
Yeah. And
I'm thinking, does this serve me? I mean, does that thinking get me to speak Italian?
No.
Never.
And
I did it, I think it's appropriate that when you start, you model your mentors. I modeled Bob Proctor. I modeled Brian Tracy. I modeled Les Brown. I modeled all
you.
of the greats. You modeled me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's okay for a while. But then you've got to have your own vision for what you want to create.
Totally.
And you did that. Like when you broke out and decided, I'm going to do a one-woman show. I'm going to teach personal growth, but I'm going to teach it in a theater. And you sold out theaters all over your country, all over Belgium. I think it was 8 or 10 different theaters. You sold out night after night. I mean, yes. you had a #1 selling show, and it was a one-woman show. It was you.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that is courageous and brave. And then from there, you built the book. And so you built this whole, you became Inge Rock. You became.
Paul, I learned to trust when the silliest, craziest idea pops up in my mind and it feels good.
Yeah.
I learned to cherish it, at least for a while, and not shoot it right in the beginning. Because, first of all, in the time the idea came for the one-woman show, it was 2010. I was young. I was young in this business. Yeah. And only 3 years.
3 years.
In, I was building my own practice, my own practice, but a lot. I was coaching comedians. I was coaching artists. I attracted them naturally. Interesting, right? Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, bam! Here is this idea. Ooh, wouldn't it be cool if I could do this in theater? Because I understand how the mind works. So if I can make people laugh, the subconscious mind opens up. Now, bam, the idea goes in, and all I felt was love, excitement. I could see it. And then the voice of doubt creeps in and says, who do you think you are?
How are you going to do that?
You're not an actress.
Do you know how
You're
long
not a
it's going to
stand-up
take you?
comedian. You know, you can, I mean, and then
Who's going
of
to
course,
come to this show, right?
who's gonna buy your tickets, right? You know, and people gonna laugh at you. And I learned, thank God, in the 3 years I was in, I learned to cherish that idea and to deal with my ego. By the way, the show was about the ego.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I think for the very first time, I had such a crazy idea out of my circuit, out of my world, literally, that I didn't shoot. And that because I fell so much in love with the idea.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and another
Yeah. And it
thing,
was your idea. It was your idea.
it was
Go ahead.
absolutely my idea. It was absolutely
Good.
my idea. And because I was holding on to the idea, I was cherishing it like a little, you know, fragile thing. I found all the right resources to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an effect of
Jennifer. Yeah. Well, what Genevieve B. Rand says, you attract all things necessary for the fulfillment of the image, right? So true. Well, hey, look, everybody, May 28th, that's next Saturday, 8 a.m. Who do you need to be? So we talked about confidence. We talked about finding your voice and your identity. We talked about playing your own game, building your own vision. Inge's going to share two or three others with you on May 28th. And then it's open Q&A.
Sure. Absolutely.
So
happy to help.
Jump in and pick her brain. Pick her brain. I mean, you could pay easily $1,000 an hour to have her coach you. You're going to get her for 2 hours. You're going to get her for 2 hours for free. Jump on this call. So thank you so much. I love you. I love Zoran. Tell Zoran I said hello, and Lynn and Marco and all of them. Tell everybody, the whole tribe, my family in Belgium.
I will. Your Belgian family.
and so you're committing Italy 2023. You're coming to Rome.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
All right. Can't wait.
So awesome. Now there's nine, and you're coming with Zoran. So now there's only 18 seats left.
There you go.
Okay.
I will be there.
All right.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much. Love you. Be well. Bye-bye.
Bye.